Greetings, Blade fans. OG Blade Reviews back with you once again. And we have an interesting and unusual knife today that is on the table, brightly colored with its Damascus insert, and otherwise also unusual. It is a TwoSun knife, and all TwoSuns have a number and generally no name, but they do have nicknames that crop up once in a while. I don't know the nickname of this knife. I do know that this logo belongs to an individual designer by the name of QuestionMak. That's Question M-A-K-S is all I'm coming up with. And that was from a TwoSun Instagram posting, I believe. And so this cactus with the one eye, kind of very interesting alien looking cactus, belongs to that maker. So, or that designer rather. He may be a maker as well, who knows. It is a entirely titanium knife, and it is unusual in that it is kind of one of these pistol grip sort of knives. And when I say that, what I'm referencing is some of the K-bar knives. I think the series is called the TDI. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So these knives here from the K-bar site that have that bent to them. And the whole purpose, there's an interesting one called the Lady Finger. And then there are others. So that's the K-bar TDI. Was designed for police officers to have a go-to knife for both defense as well as EDC. And rather than holding on to the knife in a traditional fashion like this, with either what we call a hammer grip or a kind of a saber grip there, they are holding on to the knife as they might hold on to a pistol. And you can see here that because of the drop, it's sort of like a pistol grip. It's not quite as extreme as the K-bar models, the TDIs. It is nicely done, and when I pull that into the palm of my hand, it just melts right in. But what it does do is tell you that this is pretty much the one way you're going to hold this, except that there is a full-size choil. So if you wanted to square up your grip, you could come up into that choil and have more of a push-cut kind of capability. You could certainly use it this way. And let me see if I can just do a little light adjustment here. Pump this up a little bit. Okay, that might help us. Still working out my my new setup with my lights and my camera, where I have the camera directly overhead on kind of a boom from my tripod, because it just makes measuring things up and looking at the knife a little bit more straight on rather than from an angle. So we're going to try that out for a while, and if I need to make changes, I certainly will. Comfortable feeling knife. I mean, what you feel is that you can push this into things, okay? So for the thrust, it's certainly very natural. You see how the blade lines up with the forearm, right? Same axis. And again, if you wanted to choke up, you could come in there a little bit, but it still sort of forces you into that saber grip. And a saber grip is what we're calling kind of a cross palm grip, okay? Again, I could choke up here if I wanted to square up a little more and get closer to the edge. And I've got a pretty good margin of safety. They seem to have kicked back that the heel of the blade a little bit forward, so it's not going to cut into your finger when you get that close. And it's a full-size choil. Titanium handle, 14C28N blade, which we'll call a drop point, spear point, because it's symmetrical. We've got a partial small swedge on the top. Interesting swedge. Barely pinches it in a little bit, maybe reduces the weight a bit. I'm not sure. Otherwise, a high flat grind. And we're going to measure it up because it's time. That's why. So let's see what we got here. 8 and a little over 8¼ inches. Call it like an 8.3 inch blade knife overall. We have a blade that is like 3.8 long, pretty big blade. And as far as thicknesses go, in inches, exactly ½ inch for the handle, and 0.14 on the blade, a little on the thicker side, millimeters, 3.6. And it's not going to be a lightweight from just my perception of it, the feel of it. Let's see what we do get. We get 5.4 ounces, we'll call that. So not a pocket anchor at 6 ounces or 7 ounces, but a little heavier than maybe some of you would like. It does have these interesting G-mascus. We're going to call it G-mascus because the concept is that it's kind of swirled like Damascus, but it's G10, just in different colors. I'm not so sure that, I think the other model was even a little wilder, had maybe a little bit of anodization going on. But I got this from White Mountain Knives. That is a place where they have a very good inventory, probably at least 100, maybe a little less at any one time of TwoSun knives. So certainly the place to go for TwoSun knives if you don't want to order them on eBay or basically bid for them on an eBay auction or send for them from other sources such as AliExpress or whatnot in China, which is going to take you weeks, if not a month, to get. Same thing on eBay. So White Mountain, putting in my plug for them, they will ship it out very quickly, usually same day. They will ship it free, and they will not charge you tax, all of which is really, really good. And I should get a bona fide piece of paper because I got scraps over on the side. Give me one moment. Back with you, miracle of video technology. And let's see what kind of edge it came through with. Oh, wow, surprise. Man. Oh, can slow cut that baby. Oh, I like it. I like it. You will not need to mess with that edge, particularly if you want to cut paper. Just kidding. We all use paper cuts now and then to show you, demonstrate the sharpness of an edge, the keenness, the fineness of it. But obviously you want to cut some other stuff too. So I would say it may not be a bad food prep knife, meat cutter, whatnot. When you hold it this way, you have to kind of raise your hand a little bit to get the edge to come down, but that's kind of natural if you're coming down onto a cutting board surface, that your hand be raised above the blade, so that's helpful. So in looking at the axis of this knife, I use this cut piece of paper here, and then, you know, if we go from like the pommel to there, you see, I don't know if I'm showing you that or not, you can see that the imaginary line would bring you well above where the point is. So the point definitely drops. All right. And if we were to choke up, you'd square up just a little bit more, but it gives you a little bit more control. Could you cut this way? Absolutely. I think it's a versatile knife, even though I would say that the intent was as a defensive piece where you have a very simple hold on it, don't need to know a lot about knife tactics, don't need to study a martial art, just pull it out and very easily you can thrust with this knife. You can cut with it as well. So kind of interesting. I got one other TwoSun knife over on the side here. This is a David Chen design that I really love. This is in M390. It's also a large blade, so you can get the light nicely on that blade there for you. Right about the same size. No, actually, it's a little bit longer even, maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. Got a blade, however, just about the same. So we've got more handle on this one, which is the TS510. TS510, there it is, David Chen, a great Chinese designer. I love the profile on that blade, the way that clips. Almost a reverse tanto. There's like a double clip on the blade. Well, really, there's this flat and then another drop there. Puts the point right on line. Still have a fantastic high slicey blade on that one. For compare, what are we going to bring out here? How about the Rat 1? I usually do that. Rat 1 compared to the TS465 is going to be just a teeny bit longer. But if we compare the blade, it's actually a little shorter. Isn't that interesting? So that really compacts a lot of blade into a relatively modest sized handle. Here's the MSI, Microtech MSI. And yeah, that's going to be considerably longer, at least an inch. Blade's probably going to be a bit longer, just a tiny bit. Yeah, just a tiny bit longer. Probably making up that 0.15 inches, since this is coming in around, what did I say, 3.8, something like that. Feels good in the hand. You would be surprised. You'd really be surprised. Not sure if more of these are available at this dropping of this video at White Mountain Knives, but you can check out the links that I'm going to give you. And I would suggest that it's a very affordable knife. It's coming in around 100, maybe a little bit more than 100. You do get titanium. You do get the inlay. You do get a high grind 14C28N blade. You don't have milling on the inside because they've milled out the titanium here. It's a nice gray, if I didn't mention that, heavy stonewash on the titanium with some micro milling right in there. And a nice kind of a Fuller-esque groove in here. And sorry that I didn't show you all this stuff to start with, but look at this interesting tread, sort of call it jimping texture on the back of the backspacer. So that's all the way through that backspacer. And again, sorry I didn't mention that. Right up at the front of the review. Clip, almost a deep carry, close, not transferable because it is a milled titanium clip, and it's not too common that you see that able to be transferred to the left side of the knife. So, let me know what you think. And don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. You should see a icon right about here showing up. Just click that and you'll be able to subscribe to my channel. Be well, take care, come back soon.